Okay. Hi, good morning. This is Sonia from GDM Games, and today I'm here with Eloi Pujadas, author of several games like the ones that I have here: Shikoku, Troia, Wanted Seven, and some others. How are you, Eloi?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you, Sonia, for inviting me.
Great. So today we're going to talk a little bit about your experience as a creator, and we can also talk a little bit about a gamer. So let's start from the beginning. How did everything start?
It started while playing games with Joaquim Vilalta, who's a good friend of mine. Uh, someday he insisted to design a game. I thought that he was insane. That the idea was insane, but he kept on insisting on designing a game, and then yeah, we tried. Uh, and the idea that was there was the Big Bang. Big Bang was the first game that we designed, and it was published in the end after a year of prototyping and testing. And we developed it with the publisher who was interested in the game, which was in Bedars. We launched a Berkami, and yeah, and now it's released. So that was the beginning. It was due to Joaquim Vilalta.
Okay, great. And so, were you a gamer before? Did you started creating first?
No, yeah, I was a gamer. Of course, I think that we cannot start creating if you're not in the sector, so or you don't play. It's like you cannot write a book if you don't read books. So in this game, yeah, I was playing for some years, not a lot of years, but I was playing many games for some years, and then yeah, and then this happened. But I mean,
Okay.
I never imagined myself being a designer. But I enjoy a lot since it happened, and I enjoy a lot being a game designer.
Great. So I have here that in 2017 you released Wanted 7 then.
Correct.
Um, the big difference between Big Bang and Wanted 7. How was the creation of this one, of this game?
For Wanted Seven, it started with a prototype called G7, which was more a political thing. And but yeah, I showed the game to Pak. He liked the concept. We changed the theme from the political perspective to a Western. And then yeah, the game is like a trick-taking game where you are um, like putting cards on the table. You are like canceling other players' cards, and there is a lot of yeah, interaction. I would say, like in a soft way, there is a lot of interaction.
Yeah, yeah, a really competitive one.
Yes, it is.
A friend killer, I call it.
Yeah.
So I see that you won the second prize in Granullet's game creation in 2017.
Yeah, it was
And
with this one with G7. I won the second prize, and that helped me to to have more visibility on the prototypes, and especially for this one. So Pac was interested on this one, and we developed the the idea, the concept, and yeah, that was the final release was with Wanted Seven. He wanted to change the theme, but not in a particular theme. So he gave me uh, like freedom of trying to see which other theme I could fit in the game. So we tried other themes, but in the end, one day, yeah, with talking with my sister, she came up with the idea of doing a western, and I thought, yeah, it was like it could fit very well with the guns and hitting one each other. So it worked perfect with this theme. So we developed the rest of the game using this theme.
so it's curious that you can also, of course, change the first idea, the first theme. In the end, with the same mechanics, you can find the best one.
Yeah, it's not easy because sometimes you can. I mean, you try other themes, but if they don't fit, it's impossible. So it's very important that the theme fits with the mechanics, or the mechanic fits with the theme.
Yeah, and this game is also being sold in several countries here in Europe.
Yeah,
Eloi.
I think in France, Belgium, Germany, yeah, there are many European countries that it's being sold.
Great, 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 great. Then August 2018, Shikoku.
Yeah, yeah. Shikoku, the first idea of the game was, well, the core concept was a racing game where the winner would be the second place instead of the first. So that was the core idea, and I started to the prototype with an abstract theme with just a clock,
Okay.
um, and then yeah, talking with Park, he liked the concept as well, and yeah, also we tried several. Well, I think it was kind of we just had a meeting, and someone proposed to investigate an Oriental theme. So I investigated that night. I started to do some research, and then I found this funny story about Shikoku and the pilgrimage to this temple with the stairs, and I thought that it would fit very well with the theme of being second and having this middle path concept. So yeah, I think everything was fitting with the core concept of the game, which was not being the first, and also with the theme, this pilgrimage, this race on these stairs. Yeah, so the theme and the core mechanic fit very well in this case.
So it's kind of curious that you created something first and then you find the perfect thing that was connected and without even knowing that.
Yeah. In this case, yeah, I started with the core concept, and it was not easy to find a theme with this concept. Was that is a race where the winner is not the first, but it's the second place. So in the beginning, it was like, oh, it will be very difficult to find a theme for that. But after this meeting, that someone talked about some Eastern uh, concepts or Eastern philosophies, I researched and I found this funny story about the pilgrimage of this temple. So I found it very nice, and also um, it's very nice that to know that the Japanese brand, they were interested in the game, and they published the game in Japan with the same theme and the same story, and also the temple of which is based this game. They are also selling this game, so we are,
Wow.
yeah. So it's very funny. Yeah, I like it's
Oh my god. So instead of like buying a souvenir, you can buy the board game.
yeah.
Nice, great. Oh my god. So here I have that it won the award for the best game created in Catalonia in Festival de Pirineu.
Yes.
And it's being sold in many different countries too.
Yeah.
So it's spreading around the world.
Yeah, yeah. I think that there is an American company as well that they are selling it in the United States,
Hmm.
and yeah, and it's also sold in several European countries. And I think the last month GDM has signed the license for the Persian version, so it's going to be sold in Iran. So,
Okay. Wow,
so-
great, great, great. Then I have September 2018, Veracruz 1631. What about this game?
Yeah, this game was designed with Joaquin Vilalta, the same designer as well with Big Bang. So we were teamed together to design this game. I had an idea uh, to design a game about balance, the balance, like having something in balance. And then very soon we came there with the idea of ships and trading with goods. So yeah, the idea was very uh, at the earlier stage. Just with the idea of the core concept for me was the balance, and then the theme came like very soon, and then we adapted to it, and then we developed the rest of the mechanics based on this theme, which was trading goods and unloading goods into ships, and on those ships were like being unbalanced based on the cards that you're playing, based on the weight of the goods.
Mhm.
So this was the base of the game.
Okay, great. So in this case, you are trading different goods. You have to ship. What is the most important thing when you're playing this game? What do you have to take into account?
You have to take into account to bluff as well. There is a lot of, some bluffing in the game where
Oh,
you, because you have a secret good that you are going to score at the end of the game, but you should not be very obvious, and you need to balance your goods with something on the other side. So you are loading um, gold and silver in one side. You are trading corn and cacao in the other side. So you have to be careful to not reveal your secret good too soon. And also you have to pay attention with the storm at the top right of the board. There is this marker from 1 to 5 where it's the weather forecast. And if, well, depending on where the weather is in the end, maybe some ships will sink at the end of the game. So you should be careful as well and pay attention to the weather forecast at the same time.
great. So strategy. We were seeing a message before from Takuya. She's from Shikoku. So wow.
Oh, hello. Hi,
Hi
Takuya.
Takuya. Nice. So then after Veracruz, I have August 2019 Troia,
Yeah,
published by GDM, of course, and it was nominated from the Espadao 2019 awards, and
yep,
also the best game created in Catalonia in Joc del Pineo. Oh
yeah,
my God, lots of nominations.
yeah.
So, what about Troia?
Well, Troya, in this case, it was not as easy as many as the others. The in this case, I started with a theme that was not Troya. I started with a theme which was the marathon. I wanted to explain the race, or the origin of the race of the marathon, with a game. So the game initially was, I had in mind to have a team-based game. So there were two teams that were racing. One would be the Persian team and team, and the other were the Greek team, and then they would be racing towards Athens. So that would be the first idea, using the gods, the Greek gods, but had a lot of complications during the design, and and yeah, and it didn't work. So I changed a couple of times the core mechanics and also the theme in the end. And someday someone told me that this could fit very well with a two-player game, and that the use of gods would be very good in the Battle of Troya. And I said, oh well, let's try this. And then I tried, and then it fit very well. It fit very well. So I skipped the marathon theme. Maybe I will use it in a future
Why not?
in a future prototype. But for this particular one, then I developed the theme based on the Battle of Troy. So in the end, it was not a team-based game. It was a two-player game in the end. And yes, a player is playing the Greeks, the other is playing the Trojans, and then yeah, you are fighting. You have the Greek heroes in the middle of the board, but you need to to move them using the Greek gods that are on the Olympus. So you are offering goods to the gods in order to move the heroes. So it's, yeah, that was the final design that fit very well in the game.
So in the end, like with one theme, you change everything, like the theme, the mechanics, the
Yeah,
players.
well,
Oh my
the
God.
mechanic, the god influence
Well,
was there, which was in the beginning of the marathon theme. The base of the game was using the gods to influence the different the two teams, but but the rest was completely different. So I changed everything, but I kept the idea of using the gods.
great. So this was like the relation point
Yeah,
in.
correct. Yeah, so the core idea was there, but yeah, so I changed the full theme because I think it was much better using this.
Okay, very good. You also have a game called Wishmon.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
what about it?
it
From
was
Blue
really
Orange.
Blue Orange, the publisher. It was my first experience working with an international company. It was
Hmm.
very good. It was a game that was released last year, and the core concept of the game was to build a pyramid. I started at home, like picking up Carcassonne tiles and trying to play with them in a different way than Carcassonne. So I started to stack them up, and in the end, I found that okay, I can build a pyramid with these square tiles. So I came up with this idea, with this base idea of building a pyramid. So very soon I developed the idea, playing again with gods, like in Troia. But no, well, in this case we are playing with idols, and in this case the idols are not moving anything. The idols in this case are the way to score. So they are the idols are more important to score at the end of the game. So yeah, it is a family game. It's maybe 20-30 minutes playing game, and yeah, the core idea is to build this pyramid in 3D. So we are like building this in 3 layers.
Okay, great. So in this case, it's been published by Blue Orange. How did you come up like with this relationship? Did you contact them? Did they contact you?
Yeah. The complexity of the game, which was building these pieces in 3D, made it more difficult to find a publisher because of the production itself.
Hmm.
So in Essen, 2 or 3 years ago, I contacted with them in Essen, in like in Spiel, but in physically there, and
Yeah.
then I showed them the idea. I showed them the prototype. They liked the concept. They got the one copy of my prototypes, and then yeah, very soon they called me back that they were interested in the game. So yeah, and then we signed the contract, and yeah, and it was released last year. So that was
Mhm.
my experience with an international company. Yeah,
Okay, great. In Essen, like
yeah,
what
in
a
essence.
connection.
Yeah,
I we miss Essen, like the going there.
yeah,
So, what about your game Zoom in Barcelona? Like the publisher is Cucafera.
correct.
What about this game?
Yeah, this was well, Nuria Casellas, who is a designer, and also she's the founder of Cucafera Games. She contacted us, so meaning myself and Joaquin Vilalta, because she wanted a game that would be oriented or being based in Barcelona, or where you are feeling visiting Barcelona,
Hmm.
and this would be like the core concept, like walking around, or being a tourist, or being a visitor, being or just uh, doing something, but in Barcelona, having the feeling that you are walking in the streets. So it was more complex because we were three people, so three minds together, thinking and discussing and changing a lot of things. So it was a long process to develop this game. But yeah, in the end, we came up with the idea of a photography contest. So in the end, the game is based on walking in Barcelona, but also taking pictures in a photography contest. Also, it was very interesting to design with other designers, because you can have different perspectives when designing, or with other designers.
Hmm.
And Joaquim has different perspective when designing, and I think it's very interesting. And also Nuria, also she insisted to provide some kind of fantasy in the game, so that she insisted to put a dragon in the game. But it fit in the game, because in Barcelona there are a lot of dragon sculptures, of dragon things. There are
Hmm.
more than 40 or 50, no, sorry, in more than 400
Oh.
sculptures and decorations of dragons around the city. So it was more than justified to put a dragon in the map. So in Zoom in Barcelona, of course, there is a dragon, and Nuria. Well, I think that we are proud of having a dragon there. But I mean, in from my perspective as a designer, I would have never thought to put a dragon in the map. But Nuri's perspective was a different one, and it was very valid, and that's what designing with other designers was very interesting and enriched the game and at the end. So although it was a long process because we had to do a lot of cycles and testing and throwing the game several times, in the end I think it was a good product, what we had in the end. So also I want to mention that we will have news from this game Zoom in Barcelona next year. So I cannot say anything else, but
Okay.
there will be there will be several good news next year, probably. Yeah,
Okay, we have to be there waiting for it.
yeah.
Wait, great. So in this case, what is important is like what you're saying is like the synergy between the like among you three, like, that everyone was giving their part of the game.
Yeah, yeah. It was very. Uh, I would say not more than interesting. I think it was for me giving or getting the perspective of other designers. For me, is enriching my own perspective, enriching my own designs as well. So I think it's a very positive to co-design prototypes. So
Mhm.
from that moment, even working with Joaquim or also Nuria, um, I've also saw other prototypes with, for example, with Eugeni Castaño, and also with Ferran Renalias, which are other designers from here, from Catalonia. So I have several designs with them, and we are working, and we'll see if we can publish some of the games.
Great. And is there like talking about this collaborating, like creating a game because you have created, as you say, games with other authors at the same time? Does it have any bad side, like sometimes disagreements or something like this?
But I think that well, maybe I look at it in a very different way. But for me, it's always positive to work with designers and to there is no but in this case. In this case,
Mhm.
there's always positive things working with other designers. Well, the bad thing maybe it could take more time sometimes because you need to negotiate. You need to explain the reasons why you think that this mechanic would fit better. But in the end, it's very positive because if you need to make to build a reason for that, you need to do that in because if you're designing alone, sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, maybe it's about design, but no one is challenging you. But if you are designing with another author, you need to challenge the other author with their ideas, and they are challenging you with your own ideas. So you need to discuss a lot and find agreements and negotiate. But I think in the end, the product itself and the design is more accurate and more uh, well developed, I think.
Great, great. And you're also, of course, learning from others. Like it's a way.
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The learning part is also very important.
Great. So I've seen here that on the 2018, you won an award at DAO Barcelona for the best new author, together with Joaquim Vilalta.
Yeah.
And on the 2018 BCG Malaga Award for the best Spanish creator. How do you feel when you're receiving this kind of awards?
Yeah, I feel overwhelmed, and I'm happy, of course, because I didn't expect these awards. So yeah, I was very happy to receive these awards. So yeah, I felt overwhelmed with
Do
this.
you feel kind of pressure when you're getting these things?
Yeah, of course, yeah, there is a pressure for the future to say, okay, now maybe there are many expectations from me, but I'm just like a normal designer that I have my game designs, and yeah, I don't want to create any kind of expectations on me. I have my own job, and I do my this game designs in my spare time. So
Oh,
yeah, so
so
I
you're
don't.
so you're not totally like full time creating board
No, no,
games.
no, no.
Oh,
I'm a software engineer, so eh, and then yeah, in my spare time, I love game designing. So well, I love playing games, and also when I have ideas or something, or then I like to develop these games. Yeah.
well, very good, nice. And where do you get the inspiration to create your games? Like, does it come in a moment, or how is it?
Wow, yeah, it's crazy. It could be like anywhere, anytime. Could be like a sentence said by someone. Could be a song. Could be a movie. Could be something else. Like for example, one of my last prototypes that I designed last year, it was due to I saw a cover of a game, and I thought, oh, that was a good idea to. It was a cover. I forgot the game, but the cover was like a gold hunter, like on a river, like, trying to search for gold in a river. And I thought, oh, that's a very good idea to use like some kind of bags or something to pick up gold, blah blah blah. And then I did some. I mean, after this first, like I saw the cover, and in my mind I imagined that the game would be about that. Then I saw the what was the game about, and it has nothing in common with my idea. It was like a tile placing game, and doing something totally different from my idea. And I thought, okay, maybe then I can try to develop this idea that I had, just looking at a cover of a game.
Wow.
So that was an example of how you can come up with an idea. It could be anything. The problem is that you cannot um, forecast to have an idea. You cannot prepare like. So one day I tried. One day I thought here on a table, on the table. I said, okay, now this afternoon I'm going to start a new design. Impossible. No, you cannot improvise or come up with an idea. I think it's complex to start with that. So the ideas come for by anything, any, or as I said, it could be anything that, any input, any series, any image that you see, any article that you read anywhere. So the ideas can come up from anywhere.
Yeah, it would be nice. Like, okay, well, today I have free time. Let's just think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Would be
Well,
perfect.
have to say that I've been in several game jams, and I think it's good. In the game jams, you are proposing themes or mechanics, or themes and mechanics. So based on those inputs, maybe you can try to figure out how to develop an idea. That could be another thing, which I think it works. Um, but sitting on a table with zero, like like uh, yeah, with no any inputs,
Yeah.
it's impossible to start a new concept.
So you were talking about this, like themes and mechanics. Do you think there is something like more important than the other one?
I think that the most important thing is that the mechanic would fit the theme, or the theme would
Hmm.
fit in the mechanic. So because in the end, the audience or the publics, the players or the customers, um, there are part of the players that they put a lot of emphasis on the theme, and they, if they like the theme, they don't care about the mechanics, because they just want the theme, and the theme. And there are other part of the audience who love the particular mechanics, and they don't care about if it's about collecting things or building stuff. They don't care, they just love this kind of mechanics. So in the end, for me, I think it's the most important thing is to fit the mechanics and the theme, to find a neat thing that that connects the theme and the mechanics, which is
Okay.
not easy. So it's not easy. It's a hard task.
Yeah, because maybe you have like a theme that is like super clear. I want to do this, but what mechanics can fit there? It's or the opposite.
Yeah,
Like I know the mechanics, okay. Like, and what
yeah.
about the?
Like it happened to me with Troia. I started with a theme, with I want to explain the race of marathon, and I couldn't fit the mechanics very well with the idea. So in the end, I changed the theme, and then finally the theme and the mechanics were connecting perfectly. And the other way, I started with Shikoku with a core concept, with a core mechanic, with like a race where you are winning if you are the second, and then, well, yeah, in this case it was the theme came afterwards, but the first thing that I thought would fit very well and connected very well the mechanics and the theme.
Great. And how long does it take you to create the game? Like you have the idea, then you develop it.
It
Of course,
depends
it
always. Yeah,
depends on the game, of
it
course.
depends on the game. I have like the very two extremes. Like for example, Zoom in Barcelona, it took us, I would say, more than a year to develop the game, and also then afterwards, then it comes the the part from the publisher where they contact the designer, the illustrator, and so. But the developing the game, it took us, I would say, a year. And then I have the other way, like Orbital. For me, it was like just 1 week or 2 weeks. I had the concept of the Orbital. My idea of Orbital was I want to have a, because I like the games about polyomino tiles, like patchwork or this kind of little Tetris games. I like them a lot. But I thought, okay, there is no game about using this kind of tiles based on triangles. The Tetris tiles are more with the squares, little squares joined together and making a tile. So I thought, okay, I'd like to make something but using triangles instead of squares. And then, yeah, I came up with idea. I developed the idea, and then, yeah, in 2 weeks I had the prototype. And on my second playtest with DMZ was present in that playtest, and he was interested in the game in my second prototype. So in this game, it was very fast. The development of the game, the core idea, from the first idea till it was fully developed, it was, I would say, almost the same. It changed a little bit just for the objectives and blah blah blah, but the core idea was kept from the beginning. So, but it was very fast. But the other way, the other side, that is the example of Zoom in Barcelona, that it took us a year to
Okay, so
develop.
from 2 weeks to a year, this is the
Could
average.
be, but even I know people that could have like in several years. So
Of
it depends
course.
on the complexity of the game. Could take several years, and I know people that maybe in 2 days they have a complete game that it works perfectly fine, and it can be almost published as it is. So it depends. It depends a lot on the game and the complexity, etc.
So, and when you're creating a game, of course it's different sometimes. But what is usually the first thing that comes to your mind? Like the theme, the mechanics, how is it, like the type of audience?
No, not the type of audience. Well, my type of audience is myself first of all, because as I'm not a professional designer so far, so I'm just designing because I like to design. So I want to design games that I like to play, and my type of games that I like are usually the ones that are in the category of family plus. So I design in this particular orientation. So some people ask me if I want to design a Euro game, but I like playing Euro games, but it's not my style of game. So
Hmm.
um, I tend to play more this kind of family plus games or fillers. So I'm more comfortable designing these games because these are the ones that I enjoy the most. Um, so what would be the first theme or mechanic? Yeah, as I gave you several examples, that sometimes I start with the mechanic, with the core. Well, I think sometimes I start with a core mechanic or the core concept or the core theme. But usually, well, I would say maybe the core mechanic, if I would say. But
If you had to
but the,
choose one, like.
yeah, but for example, in Zoom in Barcelona, we had the core concept, which was like walking around Barcelona. So in this case, we had a core theme, um, or yeah.
So when you're
I,
creating a game, like you are thinking like would I like it if I played it then?
yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, I need to enjoy my own games if
Of
I
course.
design them, because otherwise, yeah, I mean, I cannot do anything else like that. So yeah, I need to think that I'm going to enjoy, or if I try it and I'm not enjoying it, I'm going to change the thing, or the, yeah, everything in the design, because I need to enjoy the game. Otherwise, I'm not going to keep on designing this.
Yeah, of course. So it would be like quite difficult if someone told you like, okay, you have to create a game like this because we need it, like, and if you do it, we will publish it. But
Yeah.
if it doesn't give you this.
Well, you never know. I mean, so far I didn't have this. Maybe, yeah, you have to publish a Euro game. Then maybe I'm going to start, and who knows. but but so far from my, like, if I have to choose, I think I'm not going to design something like that. But
So
who knows in the
you,
future?
of course.
Maybe I'm going to design one day.
So it's motivation, basically.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
you
yeah.
do. Hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Here I have another. Well, I was thinking about you were talking about Troia that it changed like a lot. Do games like usually change a lot from the beginning when you start creating it until they are released?
Yes. Well, could change, like the example of Troia is perfect in this, because yeah, it changed a lot since the first concept till the game was released. So but then I have the contrary, the like Orbital, which the first core concept and the first prototype that I play test, and that it almost changed almost nothing till the game was released. So it could happen any of those. So
But what are
uh,
the cases that can force you or can like that? Why do you have to change this? Because the
yeah,
publisher asks you, or because you think that something is not fitting perfectly?
no, for me it's like in this case, because if I feel like in Troya, I started with a marathon and then I try several cycles, designing and then play testing and feeling that the game is not appealing to me because it's boring, or it doesn't have anything special, or something that I'm not enjoying the game. uh, I'm changing things. Even sometimes the designers don't want to change things. The designers tend to add more things to the game, thinking that adding things will enrich the game. And I learned through several designs that sometimes you need the scissors and try to cut things instead of adding more things. It's
Hmm.
hard to cut things, because you say, no, no, I designed this, and I liked it, or I want to have these little things here. No, 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 no. Sometimes you need the scissors and then to cut things, or sometimes going back to the core concept and start from almost the beginning. So
Hmm.
it's sometimes it's hard to take this decision, but sometimes you need to remove almost the whole design and start from the beginning with a core concept that you had.
So in this case, when you have to use the scissors, as you said, so have you ever felt frustrated sometimes? Like, oh my god, I want to do the game like that and I can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, it's a relief. Like us, okay, if it's not working, it's not working, and you have to keep on designing and to find something that you can enjoy with it. So, for
Hmm.
example, in Zoom in Barcelona, it happened several times. Like we gathered all three of us, and then we had like several brainstorms, and then okay, yeah, we've had this idea, blah blah blah. Oh, it looks perfect, it looks so fancy and it's cool. We are going to, well then, for example, in a week, then we do the prototype, and then in the next week we gather again together, and we play test it, and it's like, oh, it's horrible, this design is not working, so we need to go back again, to cut things, to put many things into the trash can, and then to start again. It's frustrating, but at the same time, you need to do that. You need to do
Yeah.
that. Otherwise, it's like adding more stuff, adding and adding and adding, because you say, okay, yeah, this is not working. Maybe if I add this new mechanic here, it will solve the problem. No, no, no. Maybe you have to remove this thing from the design, and maybe it will solve the problem. Not adding more stuff.
Yeah, because if not, maybe like you first have a game of 30 minutes and you go to a 3 hour game because you're adding
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
mechanics.
correct. Yeah, and if for example, if I'm oriented to this kind of uh, games that are more for me and for the family plus games, you should not add a lot of things into the game. The rules should not be too complex in this cases, and maybe it's also difficult to sometimes find a design that the rules are not too complex, but at the same time it gives complexity on the decisions, which I think is very it's this is the most complicated thing to do, to to find simple rules that brings complex decisions to the players.
That's
So
true.
this would be like the most challenging thing when you are designing.
And what about the play testing? Like, how do you do it? Like, do you play test first with other authors? Do you go to different groups?
Yeah, well, when I started designing games, I tried to go to several events. Well, when we didn't have this pandemic stuff,
Yeah.
well, and then we had these physical events. So with Joaquim, we went to several events to try to play test our Big Bang with with the public, and then we got the feedback, etc. But then when you know more people of the sector, you know other authors, other designers, other publishers as well, that then you start to play test your games with them. And then yeah, in the beginning I tried to play test it with myself, but then yeah, you need someone to play test with. So maybe sometimes in the beginning I use my friends to play test the first stages. But yeah, sometimes it's with other authors, with other publishers,
Hmm.
and then you play test with it, you get the feedback, you do changes with what you see. And then yeah, it's like that. You need a lot of play testing to realize if the game is broken or not, or you need to change things.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what about like when you're play testing with your friends? Do you have the like that confidence that the friends tell you no, Eloi, don't do it like this, or is better to play test with people that don't know you like that much, so they can be a little bit more like harder.
Well, of course, you have to pay attention on what they say. But even if they are like they don't want to break your heart saying that it's a bad design, but you have to be aware what's happening on the table. So as a designer, you don't only have you not only have to pay attention what they say, but also what their expressions.
Mm.
You have to pay attention. Are they boring? Are they like checking the phone all the time? So it means that it's boring. It's a boring thing.
Yeah.
Are they like frustrated? Have Do you see their faces of frustration because maybe the game has a lot of restrictions and they cannot do anything? So you have to pay attention on what they are feeling, not only what they are saying.
Yeah.
So okay, you can listen to what they are saying because sometimes it's very valid, but I think the most important thing is to realize what they are feeling, and looking at their faces and their reactions, so you can take notes on that and say, okay, do you want or do I want the players to be frustrated or not? Do I
Hmm.
want players to be, well, of course, boring? Of course not. You don't want the players to be boring, but I bored. So in the end, you have to pay attention to what they are feeling. It's very
Oh, nice.
important.
So the best thing is the expression, not the words.
uh, Everything is important, but I think the
But yeah,
most important is what they are doing and their expressions um, during the playtest. I think
that's
it's
true.
very
And this
important.
feeling, like if you see that people are laughing, or if you see that people are like,
Correct. Yeah. If they are like, if you see, if they are laughing, it's a good sign. It's a good sign. But not. It's not only the laughing, but you need more
yeah,
input. But laughing, of course, is a good sign. If they are checking the mobile, then it's not a good sign. Even they will say, oh yeah, yeah, the game is very good, yeah, blah blah blah. But they were like bored as hell.
yeah.
So now you have to pay attention on their expressions.
And is it difficult when you're having like that many games, and also like we have millions and millions of different board games? Is it difficult for you to find like new topics to try to be original and not repeat?
Yeah, that's complex. That's difficult. That's difficult because there are thousands of games released every year. So, and of course you cannot pay attention to these thousand games that are released every year. um, but yeah, it's also difficult to find new ideas or new concepts. I always try to find different ideas. My games are more or less different from each other. um, but anyway, yeah, when you have an idea and then one of the things that I try to do first is to try to research if someone else had this idea. It's difficult to do this kind of research. One day I had an idea of having a volcano, and then like a board with a volcano, and then you have like the scientists that running out of the volcano and the lava, blah blah blah. And
Fireball
yeah,
Island.
no. The concept was different. So I had like
Okay.
with different paths. It was not Fireball Island, very different from Fireball Island. But in
Hmm.
my mind, I had, I knew what I had, I wanted. But then, yeah, I did some research and I found exactly the same thing that
No.
I was thinking, the same shape of the board. So I was like in shape of, I don't know if it was hexagonal paths in the thing in the island. So it was not the island, the game,
Yeah.
the island. It was different from that. But the game design, it was exactly the same, and it was like, okay, then I'm going to remove this idea and put it into the trash can and start a new one. So doing a research is good, but sometimes you find out that that is exactly the same idea when you are going to release the game. So um, for example, in the case of Uxmal, where you have this pyramid in 3D, when the game was already signed, or the contract was signed with Blue Orange, blah blah blah. After some other months, they were developing the game. Then one day I saw in Kickstarter, I think it was in Kickstarter, there was a picture of Teotihuacan,
Oh
and
my
I
God.
saw and I saw a pyramid with square tiles in 3D and with 3 layers, and I was like, oh my god! I mean, this is exactly the same concept with the pyramid. And then I contacted Blue Orange and I told them, okay, I've just seen this game is going to be released in Essen next year, and then what do we do? Then we did some more research and we realized that Teotihuacan was a heavy Euro game,
Mhm.
which the pyramid was like a secondary thing from the game, so it was not the main thing of the game, and the audience was very different from Uxmal, which was more for family plus players. So in the end, we decided, okay, I mean, they have a similar pyramid. They have this connection, but in the end, the game is completely different.
Mhm.
So we go on with the game, and that's it. So sometimes you find out that someone else got the same idea, so yeah, it's impossible to know. It's good to do the research like I had with the volcano example, and then you have to remove this idea and start again. But sometimes you find these coincidences almost when you are about to release the game, and
Oof.
then but it's like, okay, and it's a coincidence, and you cannot do anything at that stage.
That's true, but this is kind of important because if you don't do this, if you skip this part of the research, maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to publish it. Yes, it's everything is great, and then it's like, oh my god, it's something similar.
Well, in this case, I mean, fortunately, it was very different. So this
Yeah, for
Teotihuacan was
sure.
a heavy Euro game, and mine was a family plus oriented. So that was not such a deal. But the first impact was like, oh my god, what's going on here? It's my pyramid.
This is mine.
Yeah.
So that's true. Like in the end, it's really really complicated. Like to have an idea that is not similar to anything. Like of course something can appear similar, but can be totally different. As you say, yeah, you have a pyramid, a 3D pyramid, but it's totally different.
Yeah,
Uxmal
yeah,
from
yeah.
Teotihuacan. So in the end, it's
Correct.
this. And what
Yeah.
about when you're creating the prototype? What are like the steps of the process, like since you start until it's released by a publisher, for example?
Well, first you have your idea in your mind, and then as soon as you have this idea, my suggestion is to write it down somewhere. I use a Google Drive document, and then I write there my ideas that I have. Sometimes I have some ideas that are there for years maybe, but so because yeah, you have ideas, but if you don't write them, you forget about them. So this would be my first stage, so writing the ideas, the core concepts, like having like just a paragraph sometimes. Then if you want to develop this idea, you start thinking about what can you can do, and very soon i I tend to start like using scissors and paper and pens and writing the cards or the tiles or whatever I need for my prototype, and then I try to play test the core concept if it's good or not. And then yeah, once if it's working, then I try to design a little bit more beautiful, or at least more functional. So I use Photoshop in my case to design the cards or the tiles or whatever I need. So I try to. I'm not an illustrator. I cannot draw. I'm very bad drawing. So I try to make my designs functional. So based on my experience from the games that I play, I see how the icons are structured or how the cards are more or less structured. I try to more or less design my cards or my tiles in a way that when they are play tested, the players can be comfortable and they understand more or less what they are playing. So this would be the next step. And then yeah, then I play test and do several cycles of the game. I use my scissors to cut things that are not working, and or add things if it's necessary. And then yeah, I show it to publishers. One thing that's very good is to pay attention on the catalog. I mean, you cannot show a Euro game to a publisher that publishes family games or children games. So you should pay attention what are their catalog, what are their interests. So your game should fit in one publisher or on another. So you show these prototypes to publisher, and then if someone is interested, then you sign a contract. Then they develop. You can contribute on the development depending on the publisher. Then they would require you as a developer to help them completing the development of the game. They contact the illustrator, blah blah blah. They do this other stuff. uh, Illustrator, designer, and translators, the industry, well, the way to make them physically,
Yeah.
and then the game is released in the end.
Great. So, and how do you contact like the publishers? Basically, well, fairs, festivals, or also directly, depending on the moment.
It depends. It depends. It's well, since I published Wanted 7 with GDM, I have this close contact with Pak, who is the CEO for GDM. So, for example, yeah, when I have some design that I think it could fit in his catalogs, because I know that GDM is is a company that their releases are more focused on families and family plus. So when I have a design that could fit in this box of square box, then I propose him, hey, I have this design, what do you think? And then if he likes it, and then we go with it. And if he's not interested, then we go with another one. Then or then I depending on the game, for Ushmal, for example, which is more difficult to the production is challenging. Then yeah, I contacted other publishers, and then yeah, in this case for Blue Orange, they were interested because Blue Orange is more they are interested in games with challenging components. They like to publish games where the components are visually or physically challenging and visually beautiful. So they were interested in the game. So, but it depends. It depends on each design and the components.
Okay, great. So, and to start finishing, let's talk a little bit about like what do you think is the situation of board games nowadays? You can talk about like or globally in Spain as you prefer.
And also between 2000, well, 2019 or 2020, because I,
2020
I would say, yeah,
pandemic.
because I would say that before the pandemic, I would say the sector was growing a lot. There were more and more people. Well, the players or customers were increased. So board games are selling more and more, um, which is a good sign, especially in Spain, which we are still far from France or Germany or other countries. But anyway, in Spain, we are growing more and more. but then yeah, we are here in the pandemic in 2020, which things are changing. Things are changing, but anyway, the players or the customers are still the same, and also they are still increasing. Even after the lockdown, people realize that they would need entertainment at home, so they would need alternatives to watching movies or watching series. So they would need entertainment that happens at home. So they found that board games could be an also another entertainment alternative. So
Mhm.
I think from what I heard from shops, they found out that after the lockdowns, they increased the the sales. So it's positive compared to other sectors that the pandemic is affecting more and more. The industry, I can understand that the releases this year, for example, in Essen, that are this year are less compared to other
Mhm.
years. But I think it's because the publishers are cautious because of the situation. The So they are releasing less games, or other companies I've seen that they are like releasing re-implementations of other old games that they worked fine, or they are releasing just expansions or something like that. But I think
Mhm.
it's very valid because the situation is uncertain. Um, well, let's see in 2021 if we can have more new releases and the sector can grow more and more. I think from the customer point of view, it's good because more people are buying more games more and more every time. So I think it's good.
So yeah, maybe the pandemic has the bad point that you cannot gather with many people, but we also have the good point. Oh, they want in front
Yeah,
of me.
I see.
You have homework.
I see.
So, but also we have the good point that's what you were saying. Like people are looking at like for other ways of entertainment, not like just watching series or watching
Yeah.
movies. Like I know some people that are getting introduced into this board game world because they were asking like, "What can I do? I'm at home. I'm super bored." So board games.
Yeah. For example, as a simple example, I think that Shikoku is up to 8 players, and Troia is for only for 2 players. And I think that for this lockdown, that Troia could sell more easily because it's a two-player
Mhm.
game, and if we need to gather at home, it's easier to play a game like Troia, which is for 2 players, than Shikoku, which was successful, very successful before that, because you could gather like 6 or 8 players, and it was pretty good. But now it's hard to gather 6 or 8 players at home. It's something that
Yeah, not in Spain
considering the
now.
situation, no, not in Spain, definitely.
That's true. That's true. Well, so Eloi, thank you very much for your time and for your interesting opinions and everything. And I hope, of course, I also want a new game, a new Eloi game in 2021.
Yeah, next year, definitely yes. 2021.
Okay, thank you
Well,
very much for
thank you very
everything.
much, Sonia, for inviting me. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye.
Bye.